commitment right away with NAC. We tabled that last time. We should put that under business and tabled. And then the use of DIC building for seniors club.
Rec committee,
Yeah. And if that's what you want to add for now, and the rest it could come in later on.
Okay.
Are we on video? Oh, okay.
We are now.
Is there a way we can,
She's not on video though, is
she's
she?
not on video?
No, she's just on audio.
She's called in. We
She's on my
can hardly
phone.
hear her, right?
Yeah, we could hardly hear
You have
her.
to yell, Amy.
Yeah.
okay, before you had your hand up?
Yeah, I see that we have the committees here, and I don't know why I'm still only on one. I don't know why I'm not on the finance committee.
You went on the HR committee, right?
I was on the HR and finance.
Oh, you didn't mean.
I wasn't invited. So, yeah, so that's why I like the
The HR or the finance?
finance and HR are the two that I'm supposed to be on.
I will check into that
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see what, because I think at that meeting, that discussion
Wasn't
was,
finalized, was it?
well,
No.
gone around the room and came to some consensus about who would be on what. And I think that particular meeting there was sound. So
Okay.
we should be able to,
I've got all the
Yeah.
reports to where we picked which ones we wanted to be on. And I
I
think
think
it's,
we can discuss that.
Let's get to that.
I think it's just past the agenda right now.
yeah, but I want to add it so that we can finalize
Okay,
it.
perfect. So we put that under old
Going
business.
on longer.
Okay.
okay, so you know what you want to amend the
Committee?
agenda to?
Yeah, we're gonna go with, rec committee, NAC,
Decision on that.
decision
request?
on that, and the seniors club, is what I heard.
Well,
And,
The letter for,
yeah, the,
oh, there's the letter for the,
yeah, Aurora College.
and Aurora
Yeah,
College.
and Aurora College.
yeah, that's not a tabled item. That's never
That's
been
new.
on the agenda.
That's new.
Yeah,
So that should be added to new.
new business.
Aurora College?
And it's actually the Aurora College / Regional Learning Center. That's what it is.
And Councillor Fraser drafted,
Yep, I see,
and that was circulated to you guys, so
just before
Yep.
this meeting.
Yeah.
And that's the one, Amy, you're sending from your upstairs?
Well, so I started doing it, and then I was like, I don't necessarily need to personally and want to like a whole village letter, and then I thought we could change, I was drafting it for myself, so of course it says I and stuff like that, but we could draft it so that it says we, because it's essentially exact what we need to tell them. So I don't think I need to do my own personal letter. It would be very similar. So, we could act so I figured I would just give it to council, and we can draft, we can tweak it and amend it and just add whatever else anybody wants to add to it and then just forward that for our letter.
That sounds good. I like the letter. It was,
Yeah, I
right to the point.
It's a little, well, there's some stuff missing I would add to it.
Yeah.
About high
Yeah.
school students attending there because the courses are being offered at the high school. They have to go there to get that. There's a bunch of other things,
Yeah.
but generally, it's a feel good letter there, Amy.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's I think if we just add the things that we want and make those little bit of amendments, then I think it would be a good letter from the village.
So can we discuss this further?
That's new business.
That's new business,
Yeah.
right? We'll discuss that, but we'll add that Aurora College Regional Learning Center.
As new
Letter
business.
D.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Just going great.
we're still approving the agenda.
That's okay. Let's get on it.
so Do you want to ask for a motion to approve the agenda
As amended.
Uh,
do you ask for a mover and second?
okay, so we adopt the agenda
As amended.
as amended.
I'll move that.
Dan?
Mayor Tetzel, seconded by Troy. Bill 14. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Carried. Any declarations of interest?
Should not be.
Should not be, okay. Counselor absences, what's this in here, counselor resolution?
Your absences, excuse counselors.
Oh, that counselor excuse, okay.
Counselor
Counselor Tetzel,
Hassan and, is that it? Yeah. that's
yep,
it.
and
Yeah,
Counselor Hassan. Need a mover and seconder, then Counselor excuse Counselor James Tetzel and Counselor Hassan. Counselor Clee. All in favor?
Okay, they're still in here.
6, sorry. 6, carried. No delegations today. Got a council resolution that council approved the minutes of RM 23-2024 of December 2nd, 24 as surplus presented. Mover. Need the and the seconder, Councillor Salafin. All in favor of approving? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carried. We got some minutes. Council Mayor's report. I have nothing to report this week. The CO report? Report there, sure.
just to advise, the variance report's been sent to council for the end of December. Went out in an email late last week. Again, the projections are not rosy, but well, I'm hopeful that there may be some audit adjustments that have a positive impact on it, but again, it's better than last year, but it's still projecting a loss, so. Okay,
And that will be,
Chair?
Oh, yep, sorry.
then that will count. Will count you through. We're in a negative year end. So what happens then? Is that do we cover it through our accumulated surplus?
We have accumulated surpluses through our water, so we're not rating for that going forward.
Yeah,
But it's gonna catch up to us at some point.
exactly.
So just, we need to stay more diligent and diligent and diligent, through this year, the next couple. you know, a little bit of increase to mill rates and what have you is helpful, but, you know, in the big picture, it's not a lot of revenue that we're generating there, so.
No, we have to be more diligent, I think.
And, you know, there are areas where things will happen that attrition may be able to provide us the ability to have some cost savings going forward with
Yeah.
retirements and, you know, leaving and all that stuff, so. Hard to project those rates.
Thank you.
Okay?
I have a question. Yeah, so, that's based on the last quarter report that you are looking at.
December?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had a deficit of $448,000.
Yes.
Did you figure out if the deficit is coming from operations or from like the O&M or just the different or capital? Yeah.
Mostly O&M. There's an adjustment there with capital expenditures and capital and amortization and capital revenues. But they spin it positively. When I spoke of the audit adjustments, we've been a little more diligent in our collections last year than the year before. So that bad debt expense that was done last year, I'm hoping they can do a bit of a reversal on that. And it brings, you know, a positive impact to statements. But again, you know, we won't know until the audit's complete.
Yeah, it looks like you have a big surplus because of the capital dollars that you have, right? But I don't, yeah, I mean, like, it's unaudited. There could still be some changes onto the numbers.
Then we'll see some
Yeah.
adjustments for sure.
So that's what I was just wondering how is that gonna play? The other question I have, because when the audit came in, sometime September or in the fall, right?
Yeah.
And then you close the books in December. How is that gonna help us? You know, do our proper, you know, budgeting, even though we have a budget, to know how much exactly is our deficit or if we have a surplus or not to work on the new year. Because they're always like, it's so impossible that they have to be delayed by 9 months or 10 months.
Each of our budgets, our operating budgets, year to year to year,
Yeah.
is a standalone budget and
Yes.
does not factor in any prior surpluses or deficits. We basically set a budget for a year in a standalone way.
So you kind of work on a cash basis. Whatever you receive minus whatever you spent.
And the others are the accrual, they're doing the accrual.
So I was just wondering, because for us, it's kind of too late to see our audited financial statement 9 months after the fact. It should be like you finish in January, then you get an audit by February or March. By the time you should have it, at least a draft,
Yeah.
so that we
The
have.
auditors will be here the last 2 weeks of March. So the field work will be done. And not always, but sometimes they get their work complete and they send it up the line to
Yeah, to their partner to review it.
the partners review. Even after that, it has to be vetted by Macus Finance. Sometimes that doesn't turn around as quickly as we'd like.
Yeah, they have some kind of confirmation to do with the government, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that is understandable because we don't have the same year. They're on the fiscal year, the government, and we're on the calendar year. So that's just, I was
We post
wondering.
them every year for just, when getting it, but council wants it, but the product doesn't always come timely.
find it just doesn't help us really, because I know now there's talking about new funding formula. And then that's gonna kick in April. We're still working on the old year until end of March, and then come April kicks in. Like you said, there's not much, I don't know if there's
Those
gonna,
projections that are coming out of government now,
yeah,
those are in the budget. That's what we factored into
Yeah.
the budget for revenues.
with the new,
Yeah.
with the
With-
new,
with the new
funding
information,
formula that they have.
So those numbers are as they were talked about. There was that presentation there before Christmas from their finance department, talking about the numbers.
I was still a little confused.
And there were three options that they were sort of throwing at us to look at once they've enacted the legislation. But we're using the most preferable option 3, which gives us the biggest revenue streams. So that is in your estimates this year.
Because I was wondering, because Moaz was asking a lot of questions at the time, because he might have some knowledge of what was going on behind the scene, right? Like we were all kind of like wondering where are those numbers he's throwing in at that meeting. And they did a PowerPoint presentation, which is so small, we could hardly read it. And I asked if we can have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. To date, they never gave us a copy. And we couldn't even make reference of what they discussed last time because all the discussions were there. The only thing we had a copy prior to that meeting was the old policy. So the proposed policy, we still don't even have it. They gave us numbers, but when the guy was talking about, oh, we don't know, we're not sure, it's like a guesstimate that they're just showing. It wasn't actually the real number that they were showing. Because that's why I was a little confused when Moaz was asking a lot of questions.
Me?
Yes.
I would suggest that the pocket of funding for community governments is a total of 110 million.
Yes.
And that's probably going to be approved in this session coming forward. It's a budget session. I don't know if they break it out specific per community in that budget session.
on the main estimates.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they do in the main estimates. That gives us a better idea of what we're looking at for a budget going
I'm
forward.
going to do a little digging
Yeah,
tomorrow
yeah.
about, because I thought the government sent that PowerPoint to us.
I never saw it.
And I thought it for,
I wasn't sure it's supposed to come from Melinda and sent to you and give it to us or coming from Melinda's.
I'll
wasn't
check there.
sure.
If it's not with you, I'll see that we get it and it gets forwarded.
Just to add, I'm just adding, if it hasn't been approved, then they're not gonna give you firm figures.
Exactly.
Even
that
what was
puts-
in the PowerPoint gives you some sense of
Sense of
what,
what it could be, but it doesn't give us what we will get. So basing our budget on that is a little worrisome then, no?
I wouldn't think so.
No?
They're going to at least give us what they gave us last year.
Okay,
And wherever the other number, and the numbers they're talking about in the policies are reflective of those numbers. So like I'll use O&M for instance. Last year, we got 2,032,000. It was a big bump. We're budgeting that again this year. That's what we are expecting. Their policy enactment will provide the village of Fort Simpson going forward. They also talked about the funding for water sewer will be phased down a bit over coming years because of our surplus that's been accumulating over years. So we're gonna see that going forward, but we're not gonna see that hit in 25. We may start to see it in 26 and forward. As well, the gas tax and CPI funding has an increase in it as well, which we reflected. But we don't need to, that number, once we know it, the capital plan is pretty static.
capital,
Yeah,
I don't even, that's a separate piece.
Did you receive the whole funding or they still owe us some money? For the up to 2000, for the 2025 year?
We have nothing yet for 2025.
No, sorry, for 2024. Yeah, what I meant. I keep on thinking fiscal year.
I think they still owe us a little bit of gas tax money still, but not
Because your gas
the
tax,
money we were all worried about through the year last year. We got $900 or $1 million towards the end of the year. So that's gone into our gas tax fund. And so
you received 16,900 in 2024 for gas tax.
that's because they
The
didn't.
revenue, yeah.
So we'll see, the auditors will update on those delays from MACA. That's my report.
Okay, Finance Committee report and recommendations.
So, Your Worship, you may want to turn
Turn
the
over
floor
to
over to
Councillor
Councillor Clee.
Okay, so on Saturday, the Finance and Administration Committee met to discuss a few items. One was the dog control bylaw. And after discussing it, we decided to make an amendment to bylaw 2019006. The committee recommendation for this bylaw is to amend sections 39, 40, and 41 at page 7.
Page 31 in the original one, I think.
Page
Oh,
7.
yeah, you're right, page 7, yeah.
So with that,
It's highlighted.
on number 39, the recommendation is to change the wording, the number of days, I guess, that the village will keep a dog, will seize a dog. It was, I believe, 3 days, right? And now we
Yeah.
are
7.
putting that to 7 days. And 40 is also changing to 7 days, is it not?
We haven't at this,
No,
We haven't discussed that. I was wondering that when I saw this.
yeah,
the 40 clause relates to dogs we've impounded where we don't know who the owners are, or they come in unknown.
Right, so that's remaining
The
at
onus
2
is
days.
Not keep them as long,
Right.
so.
Yes, so we said that we would impound dogs with no licenses where we cannot find the owner to reclaim the dog. We will keep the dog for 2 working days after the date of seizure upon payment to the village in accordance with section B attached and forming part of this bylaw. Number 41 is one word being changed. The word may was at the end of the sentence, and we are changing the word from may to shall, where any dog has been reclaimed by its owner in accordance with the provisions of section 39 and 40 of this bylaw, where any dog has not been reclaimed by its owner in accordance with the provisions of subsection 39 and 40 of this bylaw, an officer shall dispose of the dog by selling it to any person interested in pursuing it for the sum to be fixed by the senior administration officer at the senior administration officer's discretion, or B, send the dog to an animal shelter such as, but not limited to, the SPCA, etc. And C, destroy the dog. So these, I guess our biggest change is just changing that word from the word may to shall. And going forward, the committee is recommending that the village provide animal control services in-house.
Okay, Carol, I would really hate for you to have to do this, but can you just sort of briefly, just because it was cutting in and out that entire time, can you just briefly tell me kind of like a recap of what was just said?
Okay, the bylaw 29006 had 3 sections that were being proposed to be amended. Section 39 moves us from, I'll say, caring for a dog that we seize for 7 days, where it used to be 3. And this is in a case where we know who the owner is, based on the license.
Okay.
Section 39 is effectively not changing, it's staying within the 3 days, or I'm sorry,
No.
2 days, yes. And that's in a case where we do not know who the owner of the dog is, for whatever the reasons may be. The dog may have been dropped off here, it may not be licensed, but we're not able to determine who the owner is. We're only going to commit to 2 days for those dogs. And then 41 is where the change is that where when the prior bylaw spoke about dogs that have not been reclaimed, the bylaw, an officer may dispose of the dog by selling it to someone at the SAO's discretion, send the dog to an animal shelter, such as, but not limited to, the SPCA, etc., or destroy the dog. So the language in 41 used the word may in all of those scenarios. The committee is proposing changing that from the word may to shall.
Okay, if we're gonna, okay.
Okay?
Well, we're gonna discuss this, right?
That's,
Right now.
so I know that Councillor Klee has some other matters relating to the committee's decisions that day. But what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point where the committee's recommendations are resulting in 3 or 4 bylaws, or I'm sorry, resolutions, motions.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, that'll come forward. So when they're put on the floor, definitely every member here will have an opportunity to speak to.
Okay,
Okay. Councillor,
thank you.
no problem.
I hope Amy can hear us. This is Randalyn, Amy.
I can hear you better when you just said that, but generally since you've been talking, it's really in and out, and the only way I kind of know is because Daryl will repeat some stuff, and then I know what you're saying.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So on the 39, I thought, I'm not sure if we are skipping the word working days or calendar days, because I asked that. So at that time we said, oh, we're changing it to calendar days instead of working days. But if you want to keep it at working days, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Working days.
Yeah, if
Work
it's
better.
working days, okay.
Work.
So, yeah, because when I made the note,
Once we get to the whole discussion about the village taking on the responsibilities of boarding and housing and doing that.
Yeah.
That whole semantic of working days, calendar days, it gives us a little more time to try and find.
okay, fine, yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, because when I made the note, I put it calendar days, and then you put it at working days. So, when we had a meeting on Saturday, we only focused on those sections 39, 40, 41, because there was a financial report that was presented. But actually, that was the main point of that. That's why finance was involved, right? So, but when I was looking at the whole bylaw itself, we still have to review the whole bylaw. So that portion is fine, but I don't know if we need to pass a motion just for that page 7 with section 39, 40, 41, or we're gonna see the whole bylaw because there was the proposed changes that Adrian sent us in our meeting on January 6th.
The amendments that are being brought forward tonight, the first and second.
Yeah.
Are related strictly to 39, 40, and 41.
Okay, so we can still go back?
We can make amendments.
Yeah.
Going.
Okay, I just want to make sure because then we're gonna do another second round for this one. For the dog bylaw, because of that proposal that Adrian presented last meeting on January 6th.
Yes.
Okay, that gives us enough time to go over the whole thing, the rest of it. Thank you.
Okay, so, moving on to the next recommendation, we discussed the water delivery and garbage collection contracts. The committee reviewed and discussed the tender packages. And we are recommending that the tender documents be advertised. The packages will be amended to reflect an increase from, I believe it was $200 million to $2 million to $5 million on,
Liability insurance.
yes, for the general liability insurance coverage.
So we enhanced both. We found some NWTAC templates on this insurance question alone. We're doing 5 million on automobile, general liability, environmental liability. So they're all going to be a $5 million.
It's a comprehensive one.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's,
And that was just discussed that everything now is,
Yeah.
has increased just.
so with the motion later on, you'll approve issuing those tender calls, and then we'll put them out on Wednesday.
Okay.
The last thing that we discussed was grants donation policy. The committee discussed the existing policy, and we are recommending, or the committee supports the donation and grants to be administered at the discretion of the SAO as per the policy. And the SAO will report to council each month on the activity.
or 1,000, up to $1,000.
The policy says that.
The policy says up to $1,000.
I won't be giving any organizations $10,000.
If it goes beyond 1,000, it goes back to the council for approval. Right.
So those were the 3 recommendations.
And our mayor has the motions ready to go when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it right now?
Okay, resolution. That an amendment to bylaw number 2019-006, dog control bylaw attached, be read a first time.
So basically, those changes as Councillor Klee outlined will be the amended language on this. Well, this is attached, so
That
this
is
would be,
attached?
yeah.
Okay, as attached.
So what'll happen, once the readings are complete, this bylaw will be redrafted in its entirety. And you will be part of, and probably where you're gonna do more review of other aspects of it. Once those are all done, you probably just bring a new bylaw in for adoption. That brings, gets it all, it's a new one.
Okay,
So,
just before we make a motion, because I thought we were gonna actually talk about that, because the wording changed from may to shall, destroy a dog, I have a major issue with that. So, I would prefer to get rid of destroy a dog. So, I could not be in favor of this motion if like we're just gonna decide like this is it.
So like Renalyn did say that we had some numbers that were submitted to us when we were making these recommendations.
Sorry, I can't hear Rashida.
Oh, sorry. So like Renalyn said, we had some numbers when we were looking at recommendations to change this bylaw. And to be honest, it would cost us less to send a dog down to across the country somewhere to New Brunswick or something to get, to see a vet and be put down than impounding a dog for months here in Fort Simpson with nobody claiming it. So like at what point, I guess, is what we've discussed was what point do we say like nobody is actually claiming this dog? We have nobody to take the dog, like no, SPC at the SPCA. I guess so. At what point, when do we decide to say we've tried everything and have to do something about the dog that's impounded?
If I may, if I may add, actually, although we have that changes, the thing that's not written that's why I'm asking if we have to review the whole bylaw, each pages or each section, because I read it, it doesn't state in here that when you catch a dog, it is going to be advertised. In what way? In so many manners, through social media, posters, or through radio, before you do any actions as such on that A, B, and C, right? Because in reality, we never see things advertised or even posted because, I don't like the dogs being destroyed as well. I don't like the dog I find it like the 7 days or 2 days are too soon to make a decision what to do with the dog. And, people, if the dog doesn't wear a collar and doesn't have the tag, he could have removed or dropped that or got caught onto something, it's now too bad for the dog. You're going to die because you don't have your collar and nobody could figure out who owns you. I completely agree with you on that one, Amy. It's just that when we do that, we should review the other ones because we have to find all the means to let people know that a dog is lost, and some people, they go around, drive around, but not even knowing that they may be at the pound. That's what I'm worried about. And then by the time they knew it, the dog is gone.
Councillor.
Amy, if I may add with my old dog, Steve, recently, I tried to rehome him to the SPCA for months and months and months, and I tried to get him to see the vet, and I wasn't able to, and he just got old, and he got sicker and sicker, and he was put down humanely here. And I know he didn't suffer, and so I don't see anything wrong with changes to that bylaw, because if not, my dog would still be suffering right now.
So, sorry, I'm cutting out, and I almost had anxiety about this conversation. I just I think this is like such a bigger issue. Like, we need to get better at establishing relationships with shelter networks and SPCA. Like, I hear a lot of excuses, to be honest. Like, oh, they're full. Oh, they can't. They times those things are said, and then just like this is even before I was on council, I would call the SPCA and be like, hey, are you guys like, can you? And they're like, yes, we're full, but we do everything to find a foster home until X, Y, and Z. Or they have other places to send the dog, or there's just other options than killing the dog. And I just like, and when we say humane, I'm sorry. The way we're doing it is not. And the dog bylaw 16 states that every person who keeps a dog within the village shall provide the dog or cause it to be provided with necessary veterinary and medical care. So what we need to get better at is finding people. And I know people don't want to do that because, oh, they don't have money, they won't be able to, blah, blah, blah. Then they shouldn't be a dog owner. If they cannot afford a dog, then they should not be a dog owner. So we do have a bylaw that stipulates veterinary medical care when the animal exhibits signs of pain, illness, suffering, anything like that. So how will the village plan to render veterinary care? Because I will never support that, like not ever. And I get that it's a bird, maybe it's a lot of money, but coming from a person, like, I'm sorry, but I have 2 dogs. They're my kids. So I just worry about like a lot of things. What about if someone got loose and they didn't have their registered dogs and they went for a medical appointment, come back and their dog is, gone. Like I think we'd have a lawsuit on our hands actually. But I don't know. I think there's other ways and it's a bigger issue. I think that we need to figure about developing relationships way better than we do. I think the village needs to start enforcing already established bylaws and ticketing when necessary. There's just so many things that we could be doing differently and effectively rather than resorting to that. And we really do need to start building those relationships, having those conversations, and also educating our pet owners in our community. Like, we could be doing more. There's no reason why our bylaw can't be doing more and being out in the public and going house to house and seeing how many dogs they have and making sure they're registered and making sure, they have the resources. And you know what? There's people in pet homes, like when people can't afford food, there's SPCA would send food. Like, there's resources for that. Like, we need to be a little bit more, I don't know, compassionate about animals, like the complete disregard and the words and the terminology we use, like we do more for dogs than we do humans, is unacceptable to me. Like, not okay with me.
Okay, Troy had his hand up there earlier.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm not sure why I wasn't at this meeting because I don't know what else I could have done besides do cartwheels across the room to make it very clear that I wanted to be on this committee. Everybody here knew it, so I'm not sure how this came to be.
Yeah.
But that aside, with this, we had discussions. For one, I was surprised that we're only dealing with this one small aspect because we were presented with the recommendations from Adrian prior to this. None of that was discussed. We had a lengthy discussion about talking about giving the dogs back to the person, letting them pay fines later, trying to address these things. None of that's captured here. All the things that we talked about, there were all these ideas and none of that, I'm assuming none of it was discussed or we would have seen something here. Then moving to something like this, when I read it, the only change I really noticed was, that we're going to keep them for 7 days and then we will do one of these 2 things. But we know that there's people trying to get rid of dogs already. Everybody in this town, there's nobody here that can say they don't know there's dog problems. We see it posted all the time. These dogs are not ending up in the pound. They're not being picked up and being given back. But why are we not doing education? Why are we not saying to people, yes, you're getting your dog back, but you need to tie them up. The village used to have the tie-ups that we would sell to them at a reduced cost. This is what I talked about at the last meeting. Coming up with ideas instead of killing dogs. Why are we not looking for solutions to educate? And the village, if the village truly has done everything in their power, but they haven't, there's nothing done. There's one family that has been dealing with dogs forever, for like 20 years. And when that was happening, we didn't have all the loose dogs. The village is not stepping up to do their end of things. If we had been educating, if we were registering dogs every year, and then if we did anything, we're not though, like to see something like this and to say they were either going to be sold, who's going to pay for a dog? The dogs that are loose are not trained dogs. They're typically dogs that have never been socialized. They will pee in the house. So most people are not going to want them at all, let alone buy them. The SPCA has been full for a long time. And again, the village does not support the SPCA. We one time made a $10,000 donation, which we didn't even send to them. I believe it was 2 years later after we said we were going to give them the donation. We finally got around to sending it. And we don't use them for their vet services right now. We haven't really been supporting them at all. But now we're going to say, can you take our dogs? So if we're not supporting them, they're not able to take any of our dogs. So really, essentially what we're saying is that any dog that's caught will be kept for 7 days and then destroyed.
Yeah, no.
But we've done nothing. So where are the recommendations to counteract these things? Where is that? Because this is ridiculous to just, our first step is this. And even if we have our own village dog pound, why can't we keep them in there? If we're using a staff member who's already paid, if we have existing staff that are going to be stopping in.
That's one of the
Okay.
recommendations.
So how long should we keep a dog in the pound? 4 months, 5 months, 7 months? How long should we keep the dog? And people say, oh, I don't want my dog anymore. And the village takes these dogs? No,
No.
we discussed this at the committee meeting. We are not taking people's dogs. They need to decide, okay, if you don't want it, figure out where you're putting the
Exactly.
dog.
Let's talk
what
about
are you
giving
doing with
fines to people. Let's talk about ways to discourage that, because trying to dump these dogs, they're going to leave them loose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be like, I believe it's Fort Resolution, once a year, gathers up the stray dogs and shoots them. And I'm sorry, that is not, right now, I used to be proud of Fort Simpson in the way that we treated our dogs. We have a dog park, we see people walking their dogs. We have respectable dog owners here. There's communities where they're just allowed to run loose. You drive down the road, there's packs of dogs chasing your vehicle. And we're turning into that. That's what you see now. Every day, I would say every single day I see loose dogs. And we haven't done anything about it. And the solution is not to shoot them. And how long should we keep them? Well, if we started doing something about it, educate the public, put proper bylaws in place instead of just going with killing dogs, then we could look at that. But to just say, well, let's just kill them all, they're just going to continue to get more. But people get a cute puppy, they let it loose, and then we're going to shoot them, and they're going to get another one.
Councilor Pascalet.
So, the bylaw is for, yeah,
Oh, Renlund was just.
Yeah.
For the village to,
Councilor Fraser, it's Daryl.
I'll talk first, Amy.
The chair had recognized Councilor Pascal-Mat, and so after she's finished,
No.
is that okay?
Good to hear anybody.
Okay. So, the thing is, the bylaw specifically is for loose dogs, not, if I am an owner, I don't like my dog anymore, that's my problem. Find a new owner. You just don't dump into the municipality to look after your dogs. Because what happened is that if you dump it to the municipality is gonna cost a lot of money to keep that dog, and for how long? Now, if you're a responsible dog, all of a sudden things change in your life, that's your responsibility. You kept that dog. It's like if you don't want your child, you're gonna give it away to someone. Like that's how we see how we see our. That's the kind of education and responsibility of the dog owner. But if a dog is loose, the bylaw pick them up. That's when we play our role in here. And the thing is that I don't like destroying the dogs. To try to find all the means to get the dog rehomed or sold or in any other ways, like what you said, unless, because when I was reading it, it used to be just the vicious dog that you just kill. It more focused on that, but now it's not anymore.
I just, like, we don't have money to be housing dogs. We don't have money to be putting them into a pound for half a year. That's like putting it in jail, in a jail cell for how good of a life is that for a dog? That's inhumane. If you ask me, if it's there for 6 months and that's humane, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
We have to, really look at this, like how can we find somebody to take the dog? Like I was saying is we don't have the money, and even if we were to send this dog to Vancouver or something, get a cage, put it on a plane, send it down to Vancouver so it could see a vet and be put down humanely, then we can do that. And we would still not be anywhere close to the amount of money that we spent last year on dog pounds.
Okay, Counselor Fraser?
The last sentence, that wasn't anywhere near.
So I don't think that we need to send them to Vancouver. I do think we need to send them to Yellowknife. And they do find foster homes for the dog, and that could be anywhere, but they're responsible to do it. I don't know, I hear a lot about money. And then I hear we're gonna take this on ourselves, and I'll tell you that, like, if we have no money, we can't be building our own little thing. There's no absolute way. This is a costly adventure. We have a ton of kennel code requirements. You know what, I did a document today. I didn't get a chance to send it. I'm gonna send it to everybody. Points to consider, all of the bylaws, all of the laws on having a dog shelter or some sort of thing. And I have a ton of questions about who's going to be here for these dogs, insurance policies, all of it. Because I'm telling you, if we're going to do this, it needs to be done right. There's like temperatures, there's all of it. And I will make sure that if we're doing it this way, that all of those codes will be done the way they need to be. It won't be like it will be done properly if that's the avenue we're going. But like I said, there's no way I can agree about that bylaw unless we have done everything possible.
It is the last resort.
To make sure
It is the last.
we do our best to educate our community, intervene,
We have to
follow
review
bylaws,
bylaws.
place fines where necessary, hold people accountable, and like I said, build those relationships with people. I know there's like a sanctuary in Whitehorse that takes care of like vicious dogs that nobody else wants, but it's a farm and they take care of them. And like there's so many other options, So, and we've tried nothing. So I just don't want to, we just need to do better.
Destroying the dog is the last resort, right? We are going through trying to place it in the SPCA. We are trying to have it adopted, and that is the last resort.
Since we're brainstorming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we're
feel
getting
like
it.
we've had some dogs, like, all right.
May
Uh,
Councilor Bellefontaine.
Yeah, Councilor Bellefontaine.
We do in fact have an obligation to establish some sort of dog pound. We do have an obligation to do that. So whether that's the village or whatever, I think if we have an established place where we've decided to keep them, we need to start doing, do you ever see, you actually said the other day that you've never seen posts where they advertise the dogs.
Never.
This is the kind of thing that should be put in here. I know people, the general public do post them when there's a loose dog. I do it myself. I want the dog to get home. We talked about, to your point about dogs being in the kennels for a long time. It's not good for them. Like I said at the last meeting, they should be there. 2 weeks is kind of the recommended maximum. Really, they shouldn't be there unless they have to be there, if there's no other option. But if we're not doing anything to advertise these dogs, if we're not licensing them, why, like I said at the last meeting, why can't we have bylaw? And it's not my place to tell any employees what to do, but as council, we can suggest this and say, why cannot bylaw go to every house, ask them how many dogs they have, talk to them and say, here's our bylaws, and let's establish bylaws. It used to say if you abandon a dog, it's $5,000, which nobody has money. There was a lady moving out of town. She moved and she said, well, I can't pay you $5,000. She left. So what do? You can't tack it onto the water bill.
Okay.
We need to come up with some sort of solutions to deal with these things. But killing dogs, and we're saying it's a last resort, but if the last resort is step one, sell them, which is 0% chance that somebody's going to buy these dogs. Step two, SPC if it's full, and we don't support them financially at all. And then step three is destroy them. That's our last resort.
Could be a $1 purchase.
But people aren't taking free dogs. There's even puppies and people aren't taking them.
Okay, so basically the reason this came up is we have to be financially responsible.
One more thing.
Okay,
Yeah, and if it is being destroyed, under what, like, if we are getting actual advice from a veterinarian that says, like, your dog has been hit by a car, his back is broken, he's in excruciating pain, yeah, you need to destroy the dog on sight and scene. Then absolutely, you know, put the dog out of the misery because it's suffering. If we know our dog is sick, or any of that sort, we need to be doing our best to get him or her to the vet to be euthanized properly, humanely. And so I believe the wording
That's kind of an
that
important
says
issue
destroy
to me.
for many reasons, because I just don't think
But this is the kind of thing
we should be doing what we're doing ever,
we should.
for no circumstance. In a like a dire needs scenario where your dog's been hit by a car in excruciating pain, then absolutely, you know, you put the dog out of the misery. But other than that, we should be taking the steps, all of the other steps before we do that.
okay, just,
Okay, quickly,
yeah, okay, we're gonna go with,
just quickly, okay, because although we're talking about section 39, 40, 41, it's because of the shall kind of affects everything in each of the section. So I think we should discuss this in COW, right? So that we could brainstorm more, because like Amy's been doing some research to maybe we will end up doing some overhaul on the whole bylaw on this thing.
I was going to suggest that because it's getting very emotional around the topic, and I'm a dog lover, beyond dog lover. And we haven't touched anything in this bylaw except for change shall. It was created at the previous council, and it went through, and it had may instead of shall. So I think it needs a more explanation around it, because in that last three, although it's pretty, do this, do this, do this, we know in fact there's other steps within that should be taken. And I also think then bylaw is not doing their job. The bylaw officer is the one in charge of this program. I know. But the bylaw officer then needs to step up, and we need to give that direction to the SAO to allow that to happen. But I think it warrants a further discussion at COWS.
okay, let's defer it to Cal.
So
May, your
Okay,
worship,
go ahead.
we're gonna have another I guess we're gonna defer these two reading motions,
Yes.
table them.
Before the call. For the
Next week at COW, I would suggest we go in camera.
Yeah.
Under the auspice of, it's a talking about public safety,
Yes.
dogs and running and all that. And also, the fact that we are going to do it internally has positive benefits from, I know the whole issue and I understand the reasoning of the financial stuff. If we undertake to do this, we're going to build an adequate standardized pound. And we'll undertake to do that. Once that is completed, then we have the ability to manage the care of the animals. And whatever you come up with in the bylaw, we can implement whatever things we're going to do in a positive way.
That's what I
But
think.
we can talk more about that
Very
next
negative.
Monday night.
And I'm not sure that it needs to be in camera. I don't know why it would be in camera, unless we're talking about contracts or an employee. But I think if we leave those parts out, I think it's especially as a person who feels very strongly about dogs being shot, or however we're going to do it. I feel like it's something I would want to know is happening in the community. So I don't see, if we want to be transparent, I think we should be comfortable saying.
I
this.
disagree with that, because if we want to be transparent, then we should be showing the numbers of what actually occurred last year with the dog pound and how much it's actually cost.
So
The
that
village.
information we'll bring that forward next week. And so that everybody gets an opportunity to see the numbers. And we'll go from there. As far,
And if the number includes vet visits and stuff like that,
Yes.
that is separate, that's separate from housing dogs.
No, I think it's all inclusive because it includes
Well, I think,
what we need to do for dogs in this community.
But it's broken down separately.
It
broken
is a
down,
separate amount.
laid out, and, I think the numbers will speak for themselves, and we'll have an opportunity, whether you do it in camera or not, is not, that you guys choose to do.
In our meeting I asked, since we're talking about numbers, to justify this request, this recommendation, is do a cost analysis of having a contract or in-house, so that we could see the pros and cons of what we're making a decision for. And like what we said, is that it's not our responsibility to keep the dogs more than like 2 weeks or 1 week. Anything after that, then, it has to be decided where the dog should go. Because, what we want is that we could utilize some dollars for better purposes. Maybe we could get the SPCA to come more and give more, what you call that, neutering the dogs or whatever, and giving some some workshops to the public. Maybe that's what we can do, like what Troy was saying, because I don't think people are aware of how to care for their own animals. Not everybody. Yeah.
when the village brought a vet in, and then people canceled their appointment, this is the kind of information we should be capturing and talking to those people and saying, look, we are bringing them in, and remind them, the appointment is this day at this time. We really need to follow up and handle. That's what I used to do when we had the vet clinics come, and I would call people the night before. We had volunteers calling. We need to do more. We can't just look for the easy way out.
Yeah. And
There are solutions that are cost
we have to review the whole bylaw, because even on number 6, it says, all dogs registered and licensed during the month of January in any given year shall have the license fee waived for that year. Did we advertise that to the public?
And what about
They did.
They did?
They did.
But what about a vicious dog?
How is it?
Page
Yeah.
here, is it waived for them? If
Means I
they
have to
do
pay
it?
for
Yeah.
Vicious dog.
But even the first one, when you're reading this, says that you can only have 3 dogs, 2 indoor, 1 outdoor. Right away, that, we don't follow that. So we should be reviewing this whole thing and get rid of things like that.
Okay, we're gonna take, or
We're gonna have further discussion at Cal.
in town. Okay,
Wait, oh, Intel, okay.
I'd still like to do that.
Oh, that's like, the other motions that you have.
Can we
The
do the other
clarity-
one?
the-
Yeah, we're
grants and
gonna
donations.
move forward with those ones. And he has them, so you'll.
We lost them.
So the recommendation for water delivery and clarity for donations?
Not yet.
5 million is-
So those two are
Yep.
tabled, put away.
Nothing
aside.
else.
You're going
Well,
to
I'm
ask for
talking
more.
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a mover and a seconder for a motion resolution that council approve that the village will make the necessary provisions so that the care and control of dogs will be provided in-house by the village and the animal control department. Need somebody to move that? Councillor Clee.
Can you read that one again?
I second it.
I thought this one goes hand in hand with the bylaw, because this too, I think needs more talking about, like, we need to like, I thought we were gonna talk about these two things in Cal.
Okay, so anything about the dog will be discussed about the cow. So let's defer that too.
Okay, defer that to you.
Is it only dogs, cats too? We never even discuss about cats here.
Cats are part of it.
We are only focusing on dogs.
Chicken. But we only have a dog problem. Or we're only housing dogs.
Then the whole title needs to change,
Yeah.
because we do have cats that are running wild and don't have homes.
Well,
Nobody cares.
We have to change this to animals.
I think
Okay,
so.
so we're gonna
I think it
defer.
should be
Dog
Defer those.
Well, do you ever get cats?
Well, not through here.
Speaking more,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Okay, we're gonna move on to, the water delivery and, okay. Council resolution that council put forth a call for tenders for water delivery service and garbage collection services. I need that moved. Councilor Clee. Seconded by,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the
Yeah.
deputy minister.
Deputy Minister.
Yeah.
I will take that.
Okay, thank you. You've been promoted.
Can we go back to health?
Okay.
Horrible.
All in favor of putting the tenders out? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Discussion?
5.
Is there discussion?
Is there discussion?
I had a question.
More questions?
Okay,
More questions?
Yeah, I saw, the only thing I really noticed is that we asked for the 5 million, which was kind of discussed earlier. Is that, my only thought is if we're asking for more, it's going to cost us more. Like, wouldn't their insurance go up if they're seeking 5 million insurance rather than 2 million? Is that going to be?
Not really.
There's two things. It's the magnitude of what it would go up. I don't think it would be triple and quadruple the premium. But whatever we end up getting, we'll review that at that time. So I don't think it's going to cause the tender pricing to come in really skewed way up because of this one thing. And again, it's about protecting our interests at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's for us.
not just us, protecting the contractor too.
Only
Them
because
too.
GNWT usually requires 2 million, and so I wasn't sure.
No, it's not just 2 million, it's more than that sometimes.
Everybody went
Yeah,
up in the
it
last couple
depends
of
on
years.
what kind of contract is given to them.
A construction contract.
Construction contract, they could go more than that. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of putting the tenders out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We already, okay, this is,
Yeah.
okay. We got a council resolution that council provide the SEO with discretion as outlined in the grants and donations policy. And further that council be provided a report each month in which these grants and donations are provided. Need a mover and a seconder.
Can you add in there with reference to the specific
$1,000?
bylaw? Yeah, yeah, in that motion. What bylaw number is that?
Grants and
Policy.
donation policy, isn't it?
Policy
Yeah.
2024 or some number.
Yeah. Just make it- just
That's okay.
Okay.
indicate
I'll-
that one, yeah.
Need a mover.
She moved it.
Oh, she moved, I'll second it.
And three. Votes in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Can't counter
Amy?
before she says anything. I'm psychic. Carried.
So you have some tabled items you want to deal with.
Okay, tabled items.
Yeah.
Blank
Just
motion.
have something on the minutes of meeting. If you could indicate Rishenda as the chairperson in here. So moving forward, when we have a committee meeting, to indicate who is the chairperson in the committee.
It's not there?
No, it's just present. Present mayor. And then for the mayor, it has to be indicated ex officio.
Okay.
Since we elected who's our chairperson at the time.
Okay.
I know you were on that committee or I would have. I didn't even know I was still on.
Okay. Council resolution that council approves the operation and maintenance budget estimate for 2025 in the amount of $6,732,157.
You didn't do old business.
We didn't do the table
You got that NAC request?
where, oh, yeah, that you
We
told
added
me.
it.
Yeah,
All the stuff you made.
that's what I was looking for now. Where I put that. Here.
Did you keep an agenda?
Put it-
So many versions, I can't remember anymore, which is. We don't have it in we keep on having new version of the package, right?
Oh, right here, it's upside down.
So which one is which?
Okay.
I don't know.
Small business. Direct committee.
Maybe Amy could speak to this.
Amy can speak to.
Amy.
Yeah, so, I know that there was like several people, even, again, before I was on council, I thought it was necessary to have one. Being on council, I had people approach me asking if I could look into this. I found the bylaw, did up some terms of reference that I know also need tweaking, but I would provide a guideline kind of thing. I think it's very important, to have in our community. We've always used to have one. I don't know when it stopped. Just think there's value in community input and direction. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that forward.
Counselor,
Whatever.
yes.
Okay, thanks, Amy. I did review the terms of reference for that rec committee. And I also looked at the bylaw, which is to establish a rec committee, which is outside of council. And it seems to fit. I did make some notes on it, just some slight changes. I didn't bring it with me, I'm sorry, but I think it should move forward based on what was drafted. And we then need to look at our internal subcommittee to determine what that function is with this new
Exactly.
committee. So I didn't look at that yet. So I'll make the motion that we accept the terms of reference presented by Councillor Fraser and adopt them to move forward to establish a community recreation committee supporting our rec programs in the community. I know what it was. There was one comment I did have. There was something about the environment in there. But that's okay. Anyway, that's the motion I'm putting forward.
Yeah, I was just, because we selected, yes, sorry, it's Ranelin here, Amy. We selected who would be in the recreation committee. The one that you have on the TOR are you looking for a subcommittee? Or, so basically, with this rec committee, you only have one council member participating, right?
Yeah.
So when they have suggestion that 7 or 9 individuals will get together and they'll summarize the recommendation to the council, right? So because when you say recreation, I don't know for what's the scope of that recreation,
It's
any kind.
It's in the terms of reference.
I know, I read that terms of
The
reference.
scope is there.
Yeah, it's the scope of there, but, so we're scrapping the
Okay, I put a
recreation
scope, but I
committee
can't
that
hear
we
Renalyn.
elected earlier.
Somebody wants to-
She's just asking, if it's a subcommittee you're talking about,
Or
whether
a committee itself.
it's a committee itself, and that the village representative would come from the village's sub-rec committee to attend that, I
Yeah.
think. And they would then bring all of that back from the meeting to council,
Yeah,
correct?
because it says here, the director, one council member, non-voting, and then you have 5 to 7 representatives from public at large.
Yeah.
And that's why I was wondering, so since we did an election on who's gonna be on the committee, there's 4 of them, so you're gonna scrap that whole committee, replacing them with this one. That's my understanding.
No.
So that's a different body
Yeah.
of committee. So can you call them something else if it's, because it's gonna be confusing on our part, there's 2 recreation committees. That's why I was wondering if you are their subcommittee.
You're not a subcommittee, right, Amy? Are they a subcommittee?
Yeah,
I-
no, they wouldn't be a subcommittee,
No.
they are the recreation committee, and we are the subcommittee, and typically, one of us on that subcommittee would help them and lead them and to attend their meeting when they have their meeting, but essentially, they would be the committee,
Would the
the
committee want to call
recreation
themselves
department committee.
the community recreation?
And we do, we definitely need it, and it shouldn't always land on SAO and Mitch or whoever, like, it would be nice to have a committee to oversee the program.
Okay,
Man, I mean, I would say
we've heard
we don't
that.
have we could just do so much better, and I think with the committee, it allows for that.
Okay, so it would be a community recreation committee, and that's what we want to call it. And I've already got a motion on the floor to proceed with this, so I need a seconder for the motion.
Seconded by Leslie.
Liza Jane
Council.
seconds. Discussion?
I guess, is what you're asking, who's gonna have final say? Like, are this committee going to say, here's what you're doing? Or are they gonna recommend to?
Yes.
They're gonna recommend.
Yeah, 'cause that's-
Recommendation.
Yeah, because
Based on what the community wants.
in the bylaw, in our bylaw, it doesn't, we are not called subcommittees.
And it does need to be what the
Subcommittee.
community wants.
Yeah.
To meet the community needs, that's what a rec center is there for.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that Darrell said, they're gonna be called the Community Recreation Committee. That's on, the Recreation Committee of the mayor and council is different. Because it's getting too confusing because you're gonna call them the same. I mean,
We're
like,
called the Park and
Recreation
Parks and
Committee.
Recreation Committee.
yeah. Because we are recreation.
Parks and Recreation is the committee.
So we're
that
gonna
we
call
have.
them the Community
Okay, yeah,
Recreation Committee.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
I have a motion and a seconder. Questions called. Can we have some votes here?
All in favor?
Who passed the motion?
Kathy,
Who moved it?
I,
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay.
Okay,
excuse
got-
me,
uh,
and I refer this matter to the Parks and Recreation Committee of the Village Council to map it all out and bring it back
So
to us.
just the wording, we're gonna change it to Community Recreation Committee instead of Recreation Committee. Okay, for purposes of, since we passed this. Okay,
We're already called the Parks and Recreation on the committee list. All here.
yeah, no, here, you said earlier, they're gonna be called Community
yeah,
Recreation
yeah, yeah.
Committee.
We can get the community or the Parks and Recreation
Yeah,
Committee. to work
so the motion will state this as such.
I will speak with Councillor Fraser and we'll
Yeah, get it together.
iron all this out and advise council. But again, it's a community committee that's going to be providing input to both council and the committee
Yes.
on different matters.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they don't have any budgetary,
No,
um,
there's
No,
no.
yeah, it's all pretty clear in the terms of it.
No.
All right, that's a motion that's passed. Thank you.
How did you?
okay, NAC.
No, not.
Okay, the NAC, $5,000 grant.
Oh, for NAC?
Yes.
I'll move that we provide NAC with the $5,000 to provide community cultural activities when they come to our community. And programming.
Okay, we need a seconder, seconded by Councillor Klee. Any
Ask
discussion?
questions first?
Discussion.
Is that every year or every year? Is that gonna be every year? It's 5,000? Is that how it is in the past?
That has been in, that has been in the past.
Okay. Okay, because you mentioned cultural activity. Not all of them are actually, it's not really cultural, but they're coming from different countries or different, but
Cultures.
good. Yeah, it's not traditional to us yeah, that's what, but it's okay. So I just want to make clear that that's not, like, it's not carved in stone that we have to do it every single year.
No,
Well,
Yeah.
we discuss it every year.
Yeah,
But
we
we
discuss it every year.
We did discuss this at the Finance and Admin Committee, and we did say that that and the high school grad is typically every year, so it's budgeted.
So we may get to a point where we embed a couple of those things in every year
Yes,
so that they don't have to come to council.
Yeah.
It has to come to council because the SAO.
Part of the budget.
is
as
Approving.
part of the budget, it would come.
But for budgeting purposes, you would, and that's the thing that we're questioning, because your budget is only 15K and.
I call
you're only-
question,
Yeah,
question.
we already committed 7K.
was that
I did.
all in favor?
All in favor?
4, 5,
Amy?
any?
What's that?
Well, I'm a little bit, back on that one.
Sorry,
The
It's
NAC.
to give NAC the $5,000.
okay.
Yeah, that's the vote. You're either you vote for or against, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'll vote for.
Okay, thank you. Anything?
Thank you.
That was a rec committee, NAC, seniors club letter.
Okay,
Yeah, so this one here, I just wanted to just remind council that, like, because I know we were talking about like other organizations using it as well. But I know Val has thoroughly thought out, like
yeah,
she took that in consideration, knowing that Open Sky wants a little bit of it, and there's tea night, and there'll be the tourism part of it, and all of these things. Like, it wasn't not a thought out process. So if we make the decision, yeah, I'm just saying, like, the timing and cost and all that, the availability of it shouldn't be an issue, because that was very thought out for the senior club.
So Councillor Fraser, with this group going to that BIC, there'll be no impact to any other decisions council may want to make with respect to Open Sky, and we'd have the teen night there now. So all three of them, if they're going, they should be able to integrate okay? Okay,
Sorry, yeah.
okay, no,
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Deputy Mayor.
I'll let her go.
Okay, so, if you're making a decision for this, which is in a good cause, I think we have to make a decision what to do with Open Sky at the same time. Because Open Sky is still in the limbo, not knowing yet what is the decision of the council, if they can utilize that facility.
we'll bring forward stuff at Cal next week.
Okay, perfect, okay.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, all those groups that wanted that facility, it has to be presented and confirm with those individuals if they're okay. Because if they utilize that facility in a certain time of the day, then everybody is responsible in that building. Equally.
I think it should also be noted that the seniors' request will probably end in April, May, when they can do outside and activities elsewhere.
Mhm.
So I think, as Councillor Fraser has mentioned, Val Gendron's done a pretty good job at looking at all of that. And yeah, they can all work it out, I think. That's part of what we would like to see as a rec committee do, so,
Oh,
yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes
okay,
sense.
so we'll discuss it in council.
Good question. What do they call a senior?
55 and over, buddy.
Okay, see you there.
So we have two things in cow, the dogs or the animals, and then the utilization, the BIC facility.
Seniors Club.
Business?
The Aurora College letter.
That's new business.
New business? Okay.
That's new business.
Just move it to
Okay.
the bottom of the new business stuff and just do your other motions.
Mr. Chair.
What is the motion? To write a letter?
No, it was written,
No, it's not completed.
or not completed, it's just gonna be touched up on.
What are you looking for?
Just before a
The
meeting.
budget.
She sent
This
me an
is
email
the budget.
just before a
Send
meeting.
an email before the meeting?
So
You need to-
want to move or seconder to
Okay.
approve?
Not like everybody.
Got a council resolution that
Yeah,
council
nothing better to
approved
do.
the operation maintenance budget estimates for 2025 in the amount of $6,732,157. I need a mover and a seconder.
6,300,000.
$6,732,157.
I'm a bit confused because we had so much stuff that was sent to us. So I don't know if I even have that.
Okay. I need a mover. Moved by Deputy Mayor.
Oh, okay. I got 6,900.
Seconded by,
I just have a question before you take that one. Did you incorporated the increases now on the salary in this one? Including So I don't know why we have to discuss about wages for non-union staff.
The auditors want a resolution
Oh,
on the
okay,
books.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was discussed on Saturday.
okay. Because I was wondering, the first draft you did, it's at $6,814,000. And then with this one that we're passing, it went down to $6,732,000.
So we had our original meeting for budget.
Mhm.
We came in with the 6.8 million
Mhm.
with the increases at higher levels.
Yeah.
Council wanted it pared down a bit.
Yeah.
So we came with draft 2, which was the 6,000,007.
Yeah.
So the 6,732,000 is the budget that you are considering tonight. The other one was just for your information. Yeah, okay?
Okay, good. Because I'm getting confused. They've got so many spreadsheets in front of me. So I
I
can.
move that motion. Need a seconder.
Anybody second that? Counselor Shelby. Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Counselor Fraser?
Counselor Fraser. Favor of the budget, Counselor Fraser?
6.
Yes. Yes.
Carried. Okay, this one here. This one here. Council resolution that council approve wage adjustment for non-union staff as outlined below. 4% effective January 1st, 2024. They never got a raise last. And
It's similar to the unionized, right?
Same as union.
2% effective January 2025. January 1st, 2025. Need a mover and a
I thought
second.
it's 3 years that we said. What about
We
the
only looked at 2.
previous year and this year?
Yes.
And then you're gonna decide again,
We'll come back at the table next year.
are we not copying what the unionized staff were doing? That's what I was
We may
wondering.
make that recommendation next year for you to consider, but right now, we just want it the 2 years. Just last year and this year, that's it.
Why are we not doing it at the same time with the other ones?
Because we're not doing it,
Why not?
because we're waiting until we know what our staffing is. We may not need to give raises next year, depending on who's here.
What is the collective agreement that we passed? 4 + 2 and 2, right?
We have non-union staff,
No, for the union staff,
unions 4, 2, and 2.
422, right? 422.
We will come at the end of this year with a recommendation for non-union for next year. We're just not doing it right now.
We don't know what it will be.
Yeah, we just don't know the staffing levels we're going to have. We don't know who's going to be here and who's not going to be here. So if somebody came to work for us in November of this coming year, there'd be no raise for them. And we'll work it up based on what's the staffing complement is.
So who are non-unionized staff?
Non-union are myself, the
Finance,
operations manager, finance manager, and the fire chief.
the acting, the assistant is unionized? The assistant,
That's a union position.
it's a unionized position.
Yep.
Okay. Good to know.
So Daryl, is it's for 2024, so that date, and then 2025, is that what you're saying, and
Yeah.
4 and 2?
And we'll have budget estimates brought forward at the end of this year for 26, and there'll be recommendations for that at that time, based on the staffing complement. Okay?
And I don't think you can pass a motion ahead for another year.
No.
Auditor might not like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, I need somebody to move that. Counselor Belfontaine. Seconder.
Sure.
Counselor Shelby. Okay, so all in favor of the increase?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 6. 6? Did I see everybody's hand up? You want 4, 5?
I don't know.
Anybody against?
I'm not against, but I have a question later on. I'm passing that one.
I'll say I'm against.
Against 1. Did I hear her say so? She said yes, right?
Do you
Amy said
agree,
yes.
Councillor Fraser?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So is it 5-1?
Okay, 5-1, carried. Glass. Question?
Yeah, I felt that when we are making something presented, we're kind of rushed to make a decision and rushed to make a motion and something like that. I have a question. Who is considered non-unionized? For a non-unionized individual, do they have a hiring and firing function? If they do, yes, they don't. They are non-unionized. But if they have no hiring and firing function, they have to be unionized.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but for the finance manager, does she have a hiring and function?
He's been excluded from the union. Primarily, the union has excluded him along with the SAO. We're going through a process now of the ops manager, whether he's going to be union or not. But at this point, he's non-union. Fire chief, non-union. So we've made that decision internally.
That's just internal to you guys.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I'm pretty sure they're part of the union in the past. And the assistant SAO, because they have functions almost similar to the SAO, they step in when the person is away. So how come that position is unionized? That's what I was
That
wondering.
a determination made by the village and the union many years ago. I don't know the genesis of it.
I know in the past, we never had an assistant SAO. There was time that we had an assistant SAO, then there was time there was an assistant SAO, and then they went back again. It
So
was
right now,
on and off.
We have an assistant SAO, and that position is unionized, and there's no move to change it. That's all.
Okay, I was just wondering, because we're not just consistent because of the creation of the position. There's time that there was and there was nothing. And then now how do you determine who's unionized and non-unionized? That's all. Go ahead.
Minister,
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Tetzel.
Now you're the minister.
Okay, so to determine whether you there's a whole bunch of things you have to deal with, Renlin. It's not just about whether you're supervising staff or not, that you're in the union. It has to do with your budget responsibility, your accountability responsibility, all of these other pieces. And the union would really love everybody to be in the union. They work with the organization to determine who they want, and they work that out. So, yeah, we just can't decide, they're not union.
It felt like the way you said it's internal. Then you made the decision that the person.
The union would still come forward perhaps to say, we think this one is, and they can go back
Well,
and forth.
the union's pushing back on the ops manager.
So the union themselves are the one who's determining who would be unionized and not.
Well, they work with administration to determine that.
To determine that based on your job description and responsibilities.
Based on your description, the operations manager has how many people reporting in? And the union still feels they should be unionized. So you have to look at that. Not all the managers when I was a manager were unionized. Some of them were.
In our last previous meeting, when we were talking, I thought the only one that was unionized is SAO, fire chief, finance manager. And at the time when I asked operations manager, they said, no, they're unionized. Now, today, they are non-unionized now. So
You remember
I'm
me?
sorry.
You remember me saying that?
Yeah, I asked that before. Honestly, I have a very good memory. I can tell you what you were wearing during that meeting, and I can tell you where you sat. That's how but the thing is that's why I take notes. And that's why I'm getting confused, because I thought at the time the fire chief, SAO, and finance manager, and I asked at the time, what about Mitch's position? And they said, no, it's unionized. So that's why I was wondering, why is he now part of the non-unionized today? So let's be consistent. That's what I was wondering, because not all of us has been in the council before that we know everything. Some of us are brand new, and we don't know. Don't make an assumption all the time. Anyways, I moved it, so I not moved, I approved it as well. So I'm okay with that. I just for clarity and, consistency in the future.
Move on to the
Mill rates.
mill rates. Council resolution, need a mover and seconder that bylaw 2025-01, the 2025 mill rate be read the first time. And then I need a mover. Councilor Bellefontaine. Seconder.
I'll second.
Councilor Shalfo.
Discussion.
Discussion, any discussion? Okay. No one pays?
Actually, I have one thing about the bylaw. I own more than one property here, but I always pay my taxes before the end of July, but I only get back one $300 discount for my taxes. I did hear before that other people that own multiple properties were getting a payment of $300 for each property, so I'm just
That's the way I see it should happen.
wondering about that. Like if I pay for it, or anybody else has more than one property and they pay before July 31st, can they also receive the discount?
I'll have to check. I think we have a bylaw that speaks about property tax rebates. I don't know if it specifically refers to the property that you reside in. And if that's the case, then that's why you would only get it once. And if you had other properties, you wouldn't, the bylaw wouldn't provide that, but I'll check that.
Yeah. Is this the bylaw though? Here?
Yeah, it is.
There's another bylaw about the actual $300.
Okay, yeah.
That should be looked at because that person is still paying taxes on the other properties.
Yeah,
It's not the person living in that property that's paying the tax, it's that person. So have a look,
I will
please.
have a look. If there's anything to discuss, we'll bring it back.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
I don't have any other property.
I think that's it. All in favor? Yeah. 1, 2, 4, 5. And Amy said,
You said okay, Amy? Or Councilor Fraser?
Yeah, yeah.
Fraser 4, carried.
And second reading.
And the second reading, need a mover that, for resolution that bylaw 2025-001, the 2025 mill rates be read a second time. Need a mover, moved by Councilor Bellefontaine, And Shalafu. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Amy?
Yeah.
6. Councilor Fraser? I'm never gonna get used to that. That's carried.
We're not
Not carried.
council matters. No, there is no correspondence.
Wait, the Aurora College.
Yeah,
Oh, the new, yes,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Well, the committee as well.
yeah.
Yeah, the committee.
I thought those were,
And the roll call.
those are included in the,
Committee, do I add that to be on the agenda?
Okay.
And what we're gonna do with this?
So, what are we doing first, committees or?
Well, Councillor Fontaine has stated a concern regarding membership. What I'd like to do is refer to the meeting
Yep.
of that night where it was discussed and get full clarity. And if we need to change, we change. And going forward, if you're supposed to be on that committee and there's a member that needs to come off, we'll do that.
why do we have to take them off? We can have more than 4 or 5.
I think
Well,
there,
we've always had 4, just as a,
Okay, because what happened is that when we had the vote, Kathy wasn't here and we said, okay, maybe, because Kathy was hardly in any of the other ones. So I recommended maybe add Kathy and I can pull my name out. And then you sent me an email as a part of the finance.
That you should be on the.
Well, that's what I asked. And I said, I asked you at that time, oh, I thought I'm not part of it. I asked you and in that email and you said, no, Troy backed out.
I don't want to be on this.
So that's why I said, oh, Troy backed out. And now you're saying you didn't back out.
Well, get that.
clarified and we'll make the change.
Honestly, that's what I said. Like, I don't know why I was there because I said, oh, just put Kathy in there because I'm already in the 2. And you were not, you're not in any of the other ones I thought, or you were in part of
I'm
it.
in 3, so.
Yeah, because you were not here, so we just threw your name on any of them, right?
Well, we thought you would do this.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of said like, okay, I'll just pull my name out. Yeah. Yeah, because there's already 4, but do we really need to limit it to 4?
And people are looking for 4th and 5th, and the 4th and 5th got on, and the 1st and 2nd didn't get on.
That's,
And so I think if you review it.
yeah,
There will be clarity. and we
Yeah.
can go from there. But I'd like it figured out.
You can stay on and I can come off the finance. I mean, you know a lot about finance, but that's the reason I want to be.
You should be on there. That's your
Yeah.
expertise.
Yeah.
You should be here.
Is
I
that-
want to be on there because I don't know anything. I'd like to
Yeah.
learn.
So is
you know,
that
So,
the only membership issue?
No, I didn't know I was on Parks, or what am I on? Public Works. That's new to me, buddy.
We may not have many public works.
Okay, if that's the case. I don't want to deal with water and sewer.
okay.
So,
So we're gonna keep Troy and then Eliza is just gonna
Back
step
to
down.
Cal next Monday with the.
Yeah.
The
Is that what
discussion.
you're saying for the finance? Can we finalize it?
I wanted to be on there because I would really like to learn. That's one
Yeah.
of the reasons why
Yeah.
I wanted to be on, but I mean, it's every year, right? So if Troy wants to be on, Troy could be on, and then maybe next year, then I could.
Is it every year that we select a committee or?
So in January.
So we have a chance to go around and have a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine by me.
What is it?
I'll step down off of the finance.
And Troy is gonna be,
Troy
we'll
can-
Okay,
I mean, if that's consensus,
then
we'll
we
do
don't
it.
need to do
do it, okay. Take a note of that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're on
And,
quite a few committees,
Draft letter.
Yeah.
like nearly every one of
In the
them.
draft letter?
Yeah, I wanted to go for the snow.
Community
Yeah,
development,
there was just a little bit of,
parks and recreation.
So we have the draft
That's
from
three.
Councillor
Yeah,
Fraser
that was
on
good for
the
me.
letter to government.
Yep.
All seen draft, y'all comfortable with draft?
I just think there just needs to be a few more things added in if we send it to you.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is if anybody has ideas, send them to me. I mean, someone else can take it on, no problem there, and you can still use that. But if you want to send it back to me just with the things that you want to add in it, and I'll tweak it and send it off, and you guys can review it.
Councillor Fraser,
Go to you.
if we, I have your draft. Deputy Mayor Tetso has indicated a few more points that she'll send along. And once we get it, we'll draft the letter for the mayor's signature, and it'll be CC'd to all of you folks, so you know what goes on with that. Does that work for everyone?
And it needs to be addressed to the Board of Governors of Aurora
Yeah.
College
Okay.
and to the president of Aurora College, who is Dr. whatever her name,
Angela James.
Angela James, and then to the Department of ECE's minister.
CC them.
And the MLA.
Come see me.
And then-
Oh, yeah, the MLA too, CC
I
them.
can't remember you. But we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Perfect.
You want to make a motion to
I
that?
can make a comment?
Yes, I move that we
Yeah.
support the draft letters submitted by Councillor Fraser regarding the Community Learning, Regional Learning Center, and that we forward that once it's completely.
Well, you said you want to add some few informations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
The body of the letter is perfect. It's just an additional information. I would suggest as well, if we could ask Jillian Brown to provide us how many kids are enrolled and not kids, how many people are enrolled and what kind of enrollment. And then even because we use that facility for government trainings as well.
okay, I can stop over at Aurora College tomorrow
And then
and get that
information to justify the need, because we had the population who's actually utilizing. They're not just there for a show. Yeah.
Reword the motion.
But at least Amy started the letter, which is perfect, and she captured everything in it. It's just an additional, facts.
That the village council supports a letter going to the Board of Governors of Aurora College regarding the closure of the Regional Learning Center. Okay? And I'll move that.
Seconder.
She's my buddy. Come on, these two. We have a mind meld. Or heart meld.
Any questions? No? All in favor? 5, 6. Pass.
I'm glad Amy wrote that, because when we were discussing this on Saturday, we didn't know how to kind of formulate.
I almost started it
better.
today, so I'm glad that Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy,
Councilor
for
Fraser.
stepping up.
Okay, council matters and concerns. We'll start with Mr. Belfontaine, Councilor Belfontaine.
Nothing to bring up at the moment.
I just want to clarify that I'm not putting down the bylaw office department. I just feel that they may not be aware of all the avenues and supports they can get to deliver the dog program. So I just want to clarify that. And thankful for the village staff for putting out gravel or whatever, because it's been quite icy with the weather temperature ups and downs. And thank you for that.
Councilor Sullivan?
No matters.
No matters, no concerns. Councilor Clee?
No, nothing that I can think of right now.
So there was an email that was sent to us by Daryl about the NWTTA conference or meeting on February 26 to March 1.
If you
Have-
want to go, let me know.
Well, I was wondering, because I thought at the time we're gonna pass a motion who's gonna attend for purposes of budgeting as well. I don't know how many people could go, because our mayor is new mayor too, so he has to go. And then, I was wondering, because we never did pass a motion as such on who's gonna go. Is it funded or not? Is it funded?
Some,
But,
you get it back.
and
I mean, you have,
You have,
within your budget, the ability to do
Yeah.
that. I don't think you need to make a motion.
Yeah, okay.
And
And for purposes, at least an FYI, because we expect whoever attend to come back and make a report. Yeah,
So what I'm hearing is the mayor and deputy mayor would have an interest in going?
anybody else? Because they have had non-deputy mayors going before.
Where are we going?
Yellowknife.
Yellowknife.
Okay.
I don't remember the
And
date.
this is for,
The NWTAC annual conference.
that's right, okay.
You're not allowed to go, Councilor Fraser.
Let me see what the date.
I could go and drive, because I don't like to.
Okay,
She might be.
Anyways, if I could drive, because I don't
I'm gonna drive.
I won't modify.
I'm gonna drive. If,
Yeah.
yeah.
We didn't go last year.
No, we haven't gone in the last 2 years, or not last year, for sure.
I don't remember the last time I was attending.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to know as well is that we discussed in our January 6 meeting or January 13 meeting or something like that about the stop sign removal at Antoine Drive and 101 Avenue. And then we indicated that, we will just pass a motion whether to keep the stop sign or not, because at that time Troy was saying it was just a discussion, there was no motion passed, and then they just put the stop sign on the
I
three-way
thought
stop.
they did. I thought we did have discussion. I thought they did. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned that they didn't do 3 readings.
I don't remember the 3 readings, so
Yeah, so that's what we said, like, okay, let's just pass a motion as such to kind of, formalize it, to keep the three-way stop sign. So the third one is, when do we get our December 9, January 6, January 13, and January 20, and the January 27 minutes of meeting? So we just got the December 2nd, right? So-
The Cal meetings don't have any formal minutes.
Okay, because
Yeah.
we had one in your
Minutes from January 6th and 20th will be ready for your next regular
Okay.
meeting and hopefully this meeting.
Okay, good. So December, we don't, Cal meeting, no minutes. It's just a discussion, so just the regular meetings.
Just a regular meeting.
So
will be-
the 9 and the 13. On the 9, no, December 9 is a cow, January 6 is a regular, January 13 is a cow, January 20. So we're looking at 6 and 20.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. That's all I need. Because I'm checking if I missed something, so I'm making notes. Because I learned my lesson not to take notes.
and, yep. I have nothing.
I just want to add for that, I'll have to talk with Adrian, because, that's my time to have my voice. So if it's like we leave on like the 26th, I'll still have them, they'll be in school, so I'd have to
You have to leave before the 24th.
Yeah, and I'd have to make sure that works with him.
Now, council resolution that council adjourn the regular meeting RN 03-2025 at
9:06.
9:06. Moved by. All in favor?
7:03.
Councilor Fraser?
Yeah.
Okay. Carried.
$50 balance, I paid it already on Friday, so that I don't have to worry about my bill.
All of us? All of us? Okay, you can't leave.
Who?
So,
We're gonna do HR?
I'm gonna just give you folks an update.
oh, are we done? Not yet?
Meeting, 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that 10 minutes, yeah.
I just wanted to turn the camera on here.
In camera or not?
It's a committee meeting.
Just an update.
It's just an update.